We are aware of that, and 90% of our beliefs are stored in our subconscious mind. That is there deep into our brain, that we call our DNA. And these beliefs are forwarded in the form of memories from 10 generations backward into this moment and 10 generations forward. It's time to change. Let go of that resistance and start to identify what these beliefs are. Because these beliefs affect your past, they affect your present, and they affect your future. So by the small sharing my story that I shared, what did I learn from it? It took me from the past into the future and got me back into the present to understand that, like, to let go of my fears. It got me to an understanding that all the lessons, what I am and what I'm creating in my life needs to be checked on. A digging process needs to be done. So we have like brainwaves called the beta, alpha, delta, theta brainwaves and gamma brainwaves. So 0 to 2 years of a child, when the child is being born, the brain is just still developing. So the child is, at that moment of time, the child is just observing things around. From 2 to 4 years, the theta brainwave starts to activate in the child. The child understands, okay, relationships, like this is my father, this is my mother, this is my ancestors, or whosoever, a man or woman, that way. And as the child grows from, like, say, 0 to 12 years again, or 2 to 6 to 12 years, the child goes into that alpha brainwave level also. So there's a deep connection between delta, alpha, and theta brainwaves. Your subconscious mind wakes up twice, once in the morning and once before you go to sleep. So in the morning when you wake up, your brainwave starts to go from delta, it goes to theta, it goes to alpha, and it comes to beta. And when you go to sleep at night, it goes the other way around. So that's what it is all about. So now how do you recognize what your belief systems are and how do you follow that process? Firstly, you identify what your belief is. So here we are talking about your negative beliefs. We are not talking about the belief systems. Those are positive. Because there are certain experiences in life, the positive experiences, we keep them. But the negative ones, you need to change them so that we grow and expand our consciousness. So the first question you ask yourself to identify your belief is, where and when did it start? The second question, that takes you to the past. So to come to the present moment, you ask yourself, how is this belief serving me? It gets you to the present moment. And the third question you ask, what would happen if you change this belief, a negative belief? What would happen? What's the worst thing that would happen if you would change this? Now, there are different ways of changing these belief systems. One way we talk about the kinesiology test, where your body speaks, it talks, you face the north, because north has the maximum magnetic pull. So you face the north and you just close your eyes and you say yes and no. So if your body moves forward, it's a yes. If it moves backward, it's a no. Second kinesiology test that is taught is a finger testing. So if you get attuned to it, it's a wonderful way of testing. But your kinesiology test would not be right if your body is not hydrated. Your body needs to be hydrated. It's all about time, basically. Everything is based on history, the past, present, and future. People come to me all the time and they say, I live in the now. Yes, I am living in the now. But did you know, to live in the now, past and what you've been creating in the future. It's very important to know that. So this is what I have learned. You can hire a mentor, you can go through any sessions, so whatever suits you. But there is a need to change our belief systems so that we evolve, we expand our consciousness in the right direction and have a very happy, peaceful life the way we want to live, the way we want to manifest things in our life, and it is possible. I challenge you people over here, don't be late. You all have a date with your destiny.
Yes.
So choose, think right, because you create your own reality. So the process that we do, I have been mentored by my master, Vaida Stiebel. She lives in Montana, Kalispell in USA. I have been a certified trained Theta healing instructor. So we train people through Theta healing meditation in a very simple manner. So to understand this, we have a very small meditation for 5 minutes or so. I hope my co-speakers are okay with that. We just have a 5-minute meditation to do. So people get to that awareness of that energy of creation that just is. Yeah? So I just want you all to close your eyes for a second. It's a guided meditation and we follow.
Let's close our eyes and expand out. You are infinite being in your body. Let's expand this energy out. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Take another deep breath in and exhale. Inhale light and let's exhale light. Expand out, pass by your neighbor next to you. Pass by the room, expanding out through this building. Expand it out, pass through the city, pass through this country, expand out through layers and layers of light. Just expand out, pass through the skies, pass through the galaxies, pass through the planet, pass through the moon, the Jupiter, the Pluto. Expand it out. You're doing pretty well. Just keep going. Just keep going. Just keep going. Expand out until you connect to light. A place you feel peaceful, a place you feel comfortable, a place that resonates in your body. This is the space where you can reprogram anything. In this space, let's think of anything you want to change. And be thankful and grateful to show up in your life now. That this just shows up It just is in this moment now. I am so grateful and thankful that I have all my needs fulfilled. I'm so grateful and thankful that I experience joy in this moment. I am grateful and thankful that all my questions are answered, that they just show up and come up to me, that there is a solution. And I'm so grateful and thankful for it to show up. I'm so grateful and thankful for me being me. I am so grateful and thankful for all that good that's coming into my life now. I am open to receive. It is requested in the name of divine love that I'm open to receive all this in my life now. And it's my birthright that I'm connected to this light that flows through my past, my present, and my future. I am in one energy. Thank you. It is done. It is done. It is done. Allow this light through your crown to flow into your body. And you feel this oneness, the energy of creation, all that is. At your own time and space, with a smile on your face, rub your hands, put your palms on your eyes, your face, and open your eyes.
In short, I just put in a suggestion and a request. If you don't change your work ethics, change your goals if you want to be successful in the future. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Norris, and thank you so much for what you had said about the brainwaves, because that is so important. The first 7 years, well, up to the 7th birthday, a child's brain state is in a hypnagogic state, which means they're in a trance-like state, much like hypnotherapists will do when they're downloading a new belief into your system, or into your subconscious. So for those first few years, a child, like you said, is in observation and is just taking in exactly what life is. Their perception of themselves and their world and the way to be and not be, it's all downloaded, which means that our beliefs aren't really our beliefs, the majority of them. They were given to us by the people who had an influence on us in those first 7 years. The family members, neighbors, teachers, media, whatever we were exposed to was downloaded without before we had the ability to distinguish and have an opinion about anything. And from that point, then we begin to live our lives from 7 on, where our subconscious mind will compartmentalize. It will take experiences and match them with the existing beliefs and cause the initial foundation that was downloaded to be supported and strengthened, where the things that don't match it will then be discarded. So if someone has the belief of, let's say that money is scarce, that's a good one, there's a lot of people with that one, then no matter how they experience life, they're going to live from a place of scarcity. Even if there's a lot of money there, it's either going to flow out or it's never going to be enough because of that belief of scarcity. But if that belief can be changed into one of abundance, then no matter how little there is, the sense of abundance is still going to be there. And the changes, the beliefs that we got when we were young and have accumulated over time can be changed. If we find we have a disempowering one, like you were talking about, it can be changed. There are different modalities in which you can do it, but one of the easiest one is using the kinesiology. There is a modality called Psych-K, which is short for psychology kinesiology, that will work with the subconscious and rewrite the programming that we have. And something I wanted to, an actual example where I first got the lesson where you have the academics and coming from the books and the knowing of it, where I actually experienced how quickly a belief in a child can be established, was when my daughter, who is right over here, was 3 years old, 4 years old. 4 years old, she cut her own hair. And to do damage control with that, we had to do a pixie style, and she had very long angel hair, and people oohed and awed over her gorgeous hair all the time. And then she did the pixie thing. So all her little friends at her daycare would go, "Oh, Phoenix, you look like a boy." Well, she definitely has never looked like a boy, but after hearing it all day for 3 days, she came home thinking she looked like a boy, and she was very sad about this. And it didn't matter what I said. She had gotten so much input from people who were very influential to her at that age that in her mind, she looked like a boy. Then I was picking her up one day from daycare, and another woman who had a very similar haircut, who was very feminine, complimented on her. "Oh, I love your hair, you look like a pixie." She glazed over, and I said, "Oh, well, say thank you." And what? I said, "Well, did you hear what she said?" "No." The woman said that 3 times, that she looked so beautiful, and she looked so pretty, and she looked like a fairy. Never stuck in her brain at all, till she got present with the woman. And as she heard it, it shifted that belief in an instant. And then she could then see herself as a fairy, and then she began to see herself as beautiful and feminine again. And it was just almost like this, for that belief to be established at a young age. And then by using those processes, using the kinesiology, it can be that quick to shift them. And in the disempowering beliefs that we do carry, I think the statistics are 90% of the beliefs that we carry are disempowering, because when you think about what we were exposed to when we were little, it's not convenient to have a child. Stop it, hurry up, come on, bad. All these things, the underlying message we get is disempowering and negative, and there's something wrong with me. Then we grow up with that kind of in the background, and 95% of our lives are run on autopilot because it's just more efficient that way. The mind is very efficient. So it sets these tasks over here that just run on autopilot while we're focusing on this. And a good example of that is if you've ever been driving and all of a sudden you go, "Whoa, how did I get here?" That's because your subconscious was driving you while you were doing something else. So the subconscious will take charge and direct unless you take charge and change what's in the subconscious, and then you can make a positive effect so that when you are running on autopilot, it's more empowering and it's more your choices and your beliefs that you have overwritten and that you have planted, and they're your actual beliefs. So I don't know where I am with time, but I don't want anyone to miss out. So.
You just need to see, are you in the driver's seat or are you on the passenger seat? You have to push yourself up there to the driver's seat to run your life. Life doesn't have to lead you. You have to lead your life.
And that I will lead with. Me too. A lot of times we hear the science behind it and not understand it. I'm Candice, Camille, and I'm a willologist. We're actually on a program called Red Couch Chronicles. And actually started the program simply because in our culture, the African American culture where you come from, and especially if you come from a distressed state, we are taught not to talk to anybody, not to go to psychologists, not to psychiatrists, not to therapists. What's said in the house needs to stay in the house. I'm a product of child abuse that got to beat the hell out of her simply because we existed. So when you talk about what was done to you up to the age of 5 to 7, in your foundation of your life, that stays with you for the rest of your life, that has pretty much got your standard operating procedure and what you work with as you move through life. So becoming an adult, getting married and having children, you still have that abuse with you. So again, I come from domestic violence because that's what I knew. So we were beat up just because we existed. We were talked down to, you didn't exist. You will never be anybody, simply just because. So as an adult, it's up to you to change your standard, your belief system, because these are not, as they say, your beliefs. These were beliefs that was thrown onto you. And you figure, what do you do as an adult? So you figure, I'm never going to be better, so what? I'm going to go to school. I'm going to get a degree. No one gave me an attention. No one loves me. So I'm going to figure out, I'm going to act out. I'm going to make somebody love me. So it's some things that you go through that you try to change in life. But at the end of the day, what I experienced was not dealing with those events in my life that turned into disorders. And that's what's happened to us when you have a negative belief system that have been thrown upon you that you have to turn into a positive. So without knowing the science behind it, so I studied, went to school, got degrees on top of degrees to figure this thing out, to realize I was still broken. So you have to figure out how you're going to put the pieces back together. So I went against the rules, but I was afraid to tell somebody. I talked to a therapist. I spent about $1.5 million to try to put myself back together. And that's basically what it's all about, you trying to put yourself back together, but not knowing what together is. So I figured out a new system. So what I did was I went back in my past up into the age where there was some happy times. So I had to go back to age 7 and work my way back. I was about 33. So I had to go back from the age of 33 to 7 and work my way up and love every year of that life and learn how to love me, and I was worth it. So when you talk about changing your belief system, when it's traumatic, so you have to go back from where it started, because all of those events that happened in my life, from my parents, from my husband, from the domestic violence, all the way in, that I had to go back and love myself, because there was no self-worth, because no one taught me that. So I had to teach it to myself. Simply because today I have a 42-year-old daughter, and it was something I did not want her to go through. So I had to change my beliefs so I can change her, because I didn't want her going on generational abuse that I had went through. So, but I had to change me first, because what I was teaching on was what I knew. So I went back to learn my self-worth. So what I discovered was Darcy. And you can write this down because it is the ingredients of self-worth. And the D stands for self-deservant. Like, we don't think we deserve it when we come from that, and we operate from there. And then we have self-acceptance. Talking about accepting yourself where you are. Do you love it? And if you don't, what do you have to do to change it? Right? Then you have aura, which was self-respect. Because a lot of times you do things not realizing that you're disrespecting yourself because you didn't know better. And then you have self-confidence. When someone beats you down, just about all of your life, you stay beat down, you have no confidence, you walk with your head down, you are caved in. But when you know better, you pull your chest up, you hold your stomach in, you squeeze your glutes, and you're there. That's just how we go. You get the girl thing, it's just cute. It's better than this, and you pull up. And when you do that, if you are where you are right now, leaning over, if you put your shoulders back and hold your core in, and then squeeze your glute muscle, it puts your body in alignment to be open. And besides, as a girl, it's just cute when you do it. And then there's self-integrity. Not integrity, because a lot of times we'll do more for other people than we will do for ourselves. So then that's self-integrity. And the next last one is self-esteem. And that's what I call Darcie, D-A-R-C-I-E. So it became my middle name. So it's pretty much the ingredients of what you feel about yourself as you go on to your belief system. Because what we've been taught back in our past, if we don't address those events, they become disorders. Does everybody understand that? It's things that happens to you that we just let go. We just let it keep piling and stockpiling and stockpiling. And then you get 30, 35, and things don't go right in your life, and you're trying to figure out what's wrong with me. Why am I sad? Why am I angry? And you can't figure it out. You generally have to go back. I remember working with the first therapist and talking to him, and he was asking me questions about when I was 2. And I'm trying to figure out what the hell does that have to do with anything? Again, working from an angry place. Why do you want to know about 2? I'm a grown woman right now, and I need help right now. What you going to do? So, but finally, when I got it and I opened up to realize and tell him what was going on in my life, the floodgates opened. So all of this stuff came rumbling out from what happened to me in my past that I was bringing into my present, but I didn't want to take it into my future. I now addressed it. So if there's anything that's going on, as we said in a scientific approach, what it is that you have to do, well, first of all, you have to be aware that there's a problem with your belief system, and your belief system is not your own. And there's some things that you absolutely have to do in terms of it. So it took me a very long time to go and get help. Because we were taught, that's taboo. You don't tell anybody what's going on inside this house. You just don't. And if they find out you did, you got in more trouble for it. So those are the things that you take with you as an adult. So today, I've created a new belief system. I'm a manifestation of what's possible. So in going through all those past, I call them setbacks in your life. From child abuse to being molested to domestic violence, and then kicking cancers behind. But those are setups for the biggest comeback of my life, to learn how to be a cancer conqueror, stand here of 27 years, be the new 60 in this shape. It took some doing. So anybody can do it. You just have to want it. And more so than anything, you have to believe that it can be done. Because that's the biggest thing, that change could occur. Because change is constant if you bring it in. You have to open yourself up to allow someone to help you. But know that there is help for whatever it is that you need to change. Because awareness is most likely the biggest thing that we will have to go through. Because a lot of the times, we don't realize that it's there until you address it. Things that go undressed turn into problems later on in life as we get older. So now I'm in a state of pure harmony. but it was some work that had to be done. You know, we can pray about it, we can hope about it, we can faith about it, but if you don't work about it, nothing is going to change. There's some things that absolutely have to be done, and you have to figure out what that is. And if you can't figure it out, you have to try and get some help. So for me, figuring out, I became that coach, especially for my people who were taught you shouldn't go. So I created a space in between the psychiatrist in your life, a place where you can just stop and talk to get it out before you go to your next level. Because I have a lot of clients that's above my pay grade, and I send them to the next level. But it is a stop for you to start your process. And in order to get through that process, what I had to do was fall in love with my naked soul. Sounds deep, right? Yeah. Too deep. You know, actually I had to fall in love with me, but then go beyond, and that's your soul. And that's where everything is open. So if you can allow yourself to get there, you will seek harmony in your life. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. My life is so much easier because they've covered all the aspects that I thought about covering. The scientific side of things, the life testimonial, a bit of everything. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to ask us to do a very quick interactive session. I'd like you to grab a piece of paper and a pencil. This is a session that I would like to call a moment of truth. I believe that we've heard everything that we can learn regarding this subject, but I believe it's only as effective as we are willing to put work into it. I have a Toastmasters background, and the whole program is basically a learn by doing approach. So that's basically what I'm going to try and introduce to you if you've never been through a Toastmasters environment. So I have a few questions for you, and I'd like you to be very, very honest with yourselves, because if you're not going to be honest, change is not going to come. So let's start off by just stating the question, and I just want you to note down the first answer that comes into your head. But remember, you have to be honest. It's a moment of truth. So based on everything that we've heard, I would like you to state what you believe your current beliefs are as of today. Maybe just state one belief, your most important belief. Just very, very quickly. And can I just ask somebody to share with us what their most important belief is as of today? Not as at before the time when we came for the conference, but as at now. Yes, ma'am.
I am enough.
You are enough. Okay. So what I would like to just highlight to you is that for me, because I've also gone through some deep stuff, like Candice was saying, some very difficult times where I've had to introspect and to try and identify myself. And I would like to just give you a new definition of beliefs. For me, I could explain it as a software. We're all familiar with computers, right? So for me, a belief is like a software that is installed into your hard drive. And we've already heard that there are various people who install these programs into our hard drives. It could be our parents, it could be authority figures, it could be our culture, it could be religion. So I just want you to keep that in the back of your mind. It's like a program. The questions that I would like you to just take a note of and just answer truthfully. The first question, is your belief system an intentional one? Is your belief system an intentional one or an intentional process? Or does it have a big do not remove sign? Does it? Is it intentional? Or does it have this huge sign that says, please do not remove? Remember, you are having a moment of truth. So you will either answer yes, no. There's no gray area. I'm sure you know what the answer is to that. Question number 2. Have you ever questioned your belief system? Have you ever doubted it? Have you ever resented it? And the reason why I'm asking you these questions is because I've been in that space where I've doubted my belief system. Because remember what we said is these belief systems, initially when we came onto earth, they were programmed by our parents, teachers, mentors, coaches, etc. So you have to come to terms with yourself. Do you ever question them? Or are you comfortable where you are right now with your belief system? Question number 3. Do your current beliefs propel you towards greatness or your God-ordained destiny? Remember, we're talking about today. Maybe you had a different mindset yesterday. So are your current beliefs, are they propelling you forward to greatness? Or are they taking you on a downward spiral somewhere to goodness knows? Remember, this is about you. It's not about me, because I know the answers to these questions. But I just want you to think about it. Alternatively, do your beliefs trap you into the 3 M's? You may be wondering, what are the 3 M's? And the 3 M's for me are mediocrity, monotony, or misery. Remember, we're talking specifically about your beliefs. Do you ever get to a point where you're thinking, my belief system is taking me into mediocrity or monotony, or maybe sometimes they make you miserable? The last question. Do your beliefs serve you, or are you serving your beliefs? Are your beliefs serving you, or are you serving them? In other words, who is driving your life? Who's holding the steering wheel? Are you on autopilot? Think about it. And let me just give you a bonus question. Do your beliefs today assist you to achieve your dreams and goals? Or are they keeping you in your own private, mental, emotional prison? It's not for doom and gloom. I just want you to introspect and to think about it. Did we all answer those questions truthfully? Sir, can I just ask you to give me an answer to one of the questions that I asked? Oh, you were not taking it up, but I'm sure you were listening. Yes. Okay. Would you like to give us a contribution on one of the questions maybe that had an emotional appeal to you?
I think the last one. Are you serving your beliefs or are they serving?
Yes, and what would be your response to that?
I think I'm serving them.
You're serving your beliefs. Does anyone have anything, maybe a different question?
Have you ever doubted your belief system?
Okay, would you like to tell us?
Yeah, I've doubted my belief system many times, because sometimes in a situation you follow your belief systems and you stand by them, you implement them,
Mm-hmm.
and in that situation it might have worked out for you,
Mm-hmm.
and in the other situation if you've used the same belief system and it hasn't worked out for you,
Mm-hmm.
and that's happened to me in many different situations.
Okay.
And then I question it, like, is it good or is it not good? How much of it is good? It's complicated.
And then in your final analysis, what have you done?
I mean, I get into it, and then there are small caveats to the belief system. In this situation, this is good. In this situation, this is not good.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to kind of be a little more careful of how I implement my belief system.
Okay.
I can't just. It's not a cookie cutter formula.
Okay.
This is your belief system. It will always work. There you go. Like, it's not a question I can write, and it's not a cookie cutter formula.
Okay. This is your moment of truth, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Can we have one more contribution, just very quickly? to any of the questions? Anyone? Annie?
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, so the first one, is your belief system intentional? I would say yes, but then the questions that followed, they are completely contradictory. So yes, it is intentional, but then at times my beliefs do limit me and I do serve them. So I don't know how it's working.
Okay. But we're on the same page, aren't we?
Yes.
Okay. So the idea was just for us to think about them. And we can always go back and study the questions again, and maybe the answers will keep changing, depending on whether you're being intentional about it. If you're doubting anything, you can always do something about it. So that's the whole idea. That's why I thought, I knew that somebody would come with the scientific and somebody would bring a testimony. So I thought, I'll just do something slightly different just to get us to think about it, because that's how it becomes practical. Because sometimes we get lectured upon and then we don't really get a chance to maybe implement what we've heard. So I just wanted us to think about it, and hopefully you'll take the notes home and then you'll continue to think about it. So if any of your answers were maybe not so positive based on your own moment of truth, I want you to think about the computer that I talked about right at the beginning. We know that maybe if your computer goes through a virus, what can we do about it? We can reformat it, can't we? So why don't we clean the hard drive of our belief system? So if we have a problem with something within our belief process, if you feel that maybe it was something that was shoved down your throat by your parents, your teachers, your mentor, your religion, your culture, reformat that computer. Just format it, just clean it. Take off all the software that was put onto it. And guess what? You can reinstall. So if you're going to reinstall, and you know what I use as a basis upon me reinstalling my software for my belief system? I'm sure we all have a different philosophy on life. For me, I've realized that having gone through so much and having analyzed and introspected, I've realized that what works for me is using the Word of God, because for me that's a constant. I believe that's, it has answers that are relevant to my life at any given moment.
What did you say?
The Bible, my faith.
Okay.
That's what works for me. So when I reformat, and if I decide that there's something that I do not like in my belief system, I have to replace it with something. You can't just simply delete something and not replace it with something that is better, because you're going to have a problem. And guess what? There's a common saying, history repeats itself. And you know why that happens? It's because we never learned the lessons, maybe. We never paid attention to the experiences that we went through. I've had to introspect, and I have had to learn. And I've said to myself, I've made a conscious decision. I'm not going to allow history to repeat itself, because this time I'm paying attention.
That's right.
And I'm learning from the experiences. So what I'm encouraging you to do, go back. If you have a virus of any sort on your computer, please just delete everything, or delete the software that's not working for you. And then, maybe upgrade it. You can upgrade it. Maybe get a better version, because if you're still on a 2000 version and we are in 2017, obviously you have a gap somewhere. There's a disconnect. So do whatever works for you. Remember what I said, this is a moment of truth. What works for me is not going to work for you. Okay? So you know what's good for you, right? As long as you're in the driving seat of what you're doing. Finally, I just want to leave you with just some food for thought. I'm just here to just nag you a bit. To look into the future, one must study the past. Let's look at that past. Let's see where the viruses are coming from. Let's do some correction. History, like I said, only repeats itself if we don't pay attention. Let's start paying attention. So this is not so much about beliefs alone, but I believe that's just life. I'm going through some evolution of some sort, so you'll excuse me. I've decided that there is no time waits for no man. I don't want to be found wanting one day when when I come to the end of my life and I'm thinking, I should have done this, I should have written that book. So I'm sorting myself out. I'm deleting programs that don't work. I'm reformatting. I'm deleting, I'm blocking certain people out of my life. Whatever works, that's what I'm doing. So if something in your belief system is hindering you from being the best version of yourself, and that's where I'm at in my life. I'm working towards being the best version of myself. It's not about everybody else. Yes, we're all here at the Women Economic Forum 2017. We are sharing ideas, but we're not here to compete. I think for some of us, we're here to take our game to the next level. We're discovering ourselves. We're fine-tuning whatever we want to be. But whatever you're doing, work towards becoming the best version of yourself. And if your belief systems are not working, please just format them. Let's do something. I'm just going to leave you with some words from, I'm not a good singer. I can talk, but I don't sing. There's a lady called Sinach, and she's a Nigerian singer. And one of my favorite songs is I Know Who I Am. And it resonates in my spirit because I've been on this journey where I'm discovering myself. And I can confidently say every day, I know who I am. So she says, some of the lyrics are, I'm walking in power, I'm walking in miracle. I live a life of favor. I live a life of favor because I know who I am. So I just want to leave you with that. Do you really know who you are? If you don't, like I said, I've given you some solutions. Just do whatever works for you and become the best version of yourself.
I have a question. You said that get the best out of you. Mm-hmm. But what I believe is best, like I'm at my best. Mm-hmm. Maybe people around me, my family might not believe I'm the best. Then what is what?
Is it about them?
Yeah, your children and your family matters.
Yes, but at the moment we're focusing on you. Because I believe for us to be effective, even in our spheres of influence, we have to start by getting ourselves right. So if you're focusing on everybody else, then I believe you're shortchanging yourself. That's my personal opinion. You've asked for my opinion. So in as much as we do not live in a cocoon, we don't ignore our surroundings or our family. But I really believe that we have to start making sure that we get the priorities correct. So, yes, I also have three children and I love them dearly. But I've realized that I've also wasted quite a big chunk of my life focusing on everyone except me. And I'm shortchanging myself. And the clock is ticking. So I'm simply saying, you know what? I'm going to make hay while the sun shines. I'll try. It's about balance. I really believe it's about. Well, for me now, I'm learning to balance. But I start with me, and then I believe I can only be effective to everybody else when I sort myself out. So that's what I would say.
Thank you.
I just want to add one thing scientifically. One belief you replace of you are repairing your damaged DNA. Your DNA gets repaired. And answering to her question, may I also just let her know? She's right, like it's all about us, it's not about people. You need to let go of the 3 R's, your resentments, your rejections, and your regrets in life. The moment we learn how to let go of these 3, you play your life, the game of life, perfectly well. And your future is bright. And it's your birthright to have a bright future. Thank you.
Any more questions for either of the speakers?
Or maybe a comment, contribution? We're not perfect. We're not beautiful.
Amazing, very inspiring.
Yes, I totally agree with that. And thank you all. Yeah, sure.
Yes.
I would like to piggyback on what you were saying for her as well. Having had that experience, my background, I came from a colorful family, also known as dysfunctional. And so that was from whence I came. And as I began challenging I moved into adulthood, had a look at what was turning up in my life, and had spent so many years pointing the finger and blaming until the pattern just became really obvious. Everything that was happened, I was the common denominator in it. So I had to have a look at myself and see what was happening in me that was causing life to show up this way. So then I went internal, started looking at my beliefs and challenging them. And as I made changes and healed areas and changed beliefs, then life started showing up differently for me. And so my family, as much as I love them, my birth family and some of my children, as I shifted, suddenly I was not an acceptable version of myself anymore. But I had to let that go and bless them on their journey and how they contributed to me moving from here to here, because I love who I am, and I bless all the things I tripped over and the holes I fell into along the way, because that's what made me who I am now. And I've been through things that if people could have saved me from, they would have, but man, I would still be crippled. And what a price to pay when you think in terms of like family. That's a difficult choice to make, to love myself enough to let them move on in their life. But we were in different places where it was never going to be, there was never going to be that harmony. So my inner harmony became more important than the family kind of harmony. And I think I am much better off now. Not that I'm saying dump your family, but find a way to make peace with that, because everyone has their own agenda in how they want you to show up. And you need to love yourself and honor yourself. That's my 2 cents.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Can I say something? Just as a comment, so this is the situation of your life, right? And you had to move on, you had to take different routes. Fair enough. If you were meant to compromise, and if you were those kind of people, and if you really wanted that togetherness, or not the separation, whoever these people in your life are, that would automatically happen. That conversation of a compromise is not required in a situation where it automatically happens. And if it's automatically happening, that's the situation you want to be in. You don't want to force a compromise. And if you're constantly, I do that a lot. Like, just because I want to be with these people, like, I discuss a compromise, Why can't you do this? I'm coming halfway, you come halfway. Like, okay, you can have that conversation once or twice, okay, but then eventually that compromise needs to be a intention. You can't push it. There's only a level to which you can push that desire for compromise.
That causes conflict is what it is. And you really do have to let it flow. But one of the things that you do have to own your truth and stay true to yourself. And that's what it is. So even when you bring about change, because you have to remember your family or whoever you're with remembers the old you who are now gone. And that's what they are used to. So when we do a 360-degree change, we become a new person that they're not used to. So it's almost you have to go into a learned behavior to teach them the new you, not conflictual, because it should never be ultimatum and say, listen, I changed, that's just how it is, you either accept it or you don't. You can't do that with your children, number one. But you can own the new you, because when you don't, it brings about stress back in your life. So the conflict in you releasing the new you, so just like she said, you literally have to bless it, but you have to release what's coming at you. So once you give it its blessing, the next thing is to release it. And that's some of the things that we don't do. You can't hold on to both of them and expect to be in harmony. So that's what you do. You bless it, and even with your children, teaching them the new you. Because that's what it is. That old chick is gone. And you have to introduce them to the new one and let them know that this is the one that's just coming to stay. But you have to do it from a place of love. So, and that's basically what it is. So it should never be forced. So but you still have to stand in your power. Because a lot of times the tests that we think are tests in our lives that we go through that we want to change is ultimately you gaining your strength, discovering your strength that you turned into your power. And you have to stand in it and understand that whoever is in your life from this point on, they have to be okay with it. And you have to find a way with your children to know, listen, this is my best. This is me. I am like happy as a pig in slop. So as a matter of fact, not only do you have to say it, your actions have to show it. So once you do that, when you talk about leading by example or leading, they will follow you. Eventually, if you own truth to yourself and stay at your best and just keep walking in your power, they will come around in such a loving space. Yes?
Like when your cells in your body, right, they know how to feel unhappy, they know how to be sad. Why can't we, like how she said, you update your programming? Why can't you download yourself a feeling of love? What your body knows, what you are loved, what you are enough, that you are limitless, what respect feels like. Once you train your brain and your body and your cells to understand that, yes, I know this. I have divine's definition of this feeling. Everything changes around and it shifts.
Sorry, and just a quick one. If you remember what I said, if you were so used to, if your hard drive or what your mind was used to having something occupying a particular space, as soon as you take whatever it is out and you don't replace it with something, guess what? Something will always find it. Yes, and that thing might actually be worse than what you removed in the first place. So make sure that if it was a negative affirmation, for instance, maybe you need to put 2 positive ones. Because as long as you leave a gap, something is going to, and maybe somebody else is going to come in with a new program and totally mess up your life. So don't leave the vacuum there. Make sure if you're going to take something out because you want to better yourself, replace it with something that's even more powerful. And stick with it. Run with it.
That's it.
No matter what happens.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for all that contribution and sharing. Let us all come together for a group photo, please.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this session. Thank you.
We have beautiful books that are available online also at Amazon. They're called Theta Healing, which talks about beliefs. We have CDs also of the meditation, a roadmap to the Creator. So they're all available. Are we all coming?
आगे आइए थोड़ा.
Aage?
Now you've understood. Yes.
Can you okay.
Okay. You're a tall one.
Oh, no, that's fine. I did.
Smile.
They're reprogramming.
They are.
Yes. So, she is Christian, so the majority of people that follow her are likely Christians. But it's a business. So how do you take that step? How do you launch your business? How do you
my WhatsApp message. Maybe you haven't opened it.
Let me see.
That's like really get you charged up and fired up.
What time does your talk start?
It's supposed to start now. We were just giving it a few minutes because people were still upstairs in Peacock. Whatever that plenary went like overtime. So like when I left, they hadn't even received their awards yet.
Oh.
Yeah.
So do you still want us to hold on?
No, we can. I mean,
start.
I think we can go ahead and get started. Yep.
Guy.
So once you, I'm gonna after.
Okay.
Once you
You got to scoot out.
talk, yeah, I'm gonna get out.
Got you. Thank you.
No problem.
Come in. Thank you.
On? Yeah,
You know what? I heard you upstairs on the plenary. You have such a beautiful voice and such a powerful speaking engagement. I really enjoyed you.
Thank you.
I like that wordsmith. Go ahead. Yes.
Hello, everybody. We're just about to start our last session of the day. It's all about you. That's the topic of this session. And with us, we have got two presenters who are now ready to give us what it takes to understand that it's all about us. Let's enjoy ourselves.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I know this is the last session of the evening, and you are tired from a long day and ready to get back to your rooms or perhaps get a massage, have dinner, etc. Okay, not a problem. There we go. All right, so thank you for joining me this evening. My name is Felicia Phillips. I'm a minister. I am a marketing communications professional. I'm a soon-to-be author and coach. And this evening I'm going to be talking to you from the topic, It's All About You. And what that basically means is that pursuing your dreams, manifesting your dreams is all about you. But what you have to do is get out of your way and allow that space, that creative space, to take over so that you can manifest your dreams. So for the next few minutes, I want to talk to you about getting out of your way and boldly manifesting your dreams. I want to equip you with the tools that you need to move from being a dreamer to being someone who manifests dreams. Do we have any dreamers in here today?
Yes.
Anybody have a dream? Yes. All right. Now, is there anyone who's lived out their dreams? Anybody who's lived out their dreams? Guess what? I have a testimony. I am living out one of my dreams right now. See, I had a dream that one day I'd be able to call myself a global empowerment speaker, an international speaker. Now, guess what? I'm in New Delhi, India right now. Guess where I'm from? The United States of America. Guess what I'm doing right now? I am speaking to you, and I'm giving this empowerment talk. So guess what I am doing? I am walking in my destiny. I am fulfilling my dream right now. I am an international empowerment speaker. And I have more dreams. How many of you have more than one dream? You don't have to limit yourself. You can dream wildly. You can dream out the box. You can have as many dreams and dream as boldly as you can. My next dream is that I'm going to be a published author. permit me to share all of the juicy goodness that I have to share with you in that book. So you're going to all have to buy a copy when it comes out in a couple of weeks. All right? But for the time that I have, I am going to share with you 4 key points to help you again move from being a dreamer to being one who manifests dreams. The first thing that I want you to do to get out of your way and boldly pursue your dream is to change your mindset and begin to see yourself pursuing that dream. The second step of getting out of your way and boldly pursuing your dream is to take the first step. Take the first step. The third step to getting out of your way and boldly pursuing your dreams is to believe that you can do it. And the last step to getting out of your way and boldly pursuing your dream is to open your mouth and say that it is so. Now let me unpack each one of those steps for you. Number 1, again, change your mindset and see yourself pursuing that dream. When my friend invited me to come to the Women Economic Forum last year, my initial response was no. I told her that it wasn't a forum for me. See, she was a former therapist who had recently transitioned to life coaching. She had just released her first book, so she was a published author. And me, on the other hand, I said, I'm just a little minister over here doing my thing at my little church in North Philadelphia. I'm not an empowerment speaker. I'm not a life coach. I haven't written any books. However, I told her, you know what? Me being the woman of God that I am, I'm going to pray about it. And I'm going to ask God to give me some direction and let me know what I should do. And after seeking God's face and talking to my husband about it, I began to do what? I began to change my mindset about what I was able to do and what I could bring to the table at the Women Economic Forum. I began to think about the many years that I spent creating, developing, and coaching a team in corporate America. I began to think about the many messages and sermons that I had preached, empowering men and women with biblical principles on how to deal with their life issues. And so I began to also see myself writing that book. And I finally realized that I was the only one that was holding myself back from going to this conference. And so I changed my mindset, and I began to see myself standing here today, speaking at this conference. I got out of my way to pursue my dream. Number 2, take the first step. Oftentimes we have a dream, but we never move into manifestation simply because we refuse to take the first step. That first step is the hardest step that you'll have to take. My first step in realizing my dream of becoming an international speaker was to get out of my own way and to accept the invitation. That's it. Do you see how simple that was? But it was a big step for me. Why? Because at the time I was living off of an unemployment check that was about to run out. And I wasn't sure how I was going to be able to pay my own bills, much less travel to New Delhi, India. But yet, I said yes anyway. I did what? I took that first step. That first step, and that first step was life-changing. That first step is why I am here today. Saying yes forced me to maintain the mindset that I had already begun to change and allowed me to envision myself speaking at this conference today. And here I am. Number 3, you have to believe that you can do it. You have to believe in yourself. If you're going to get out of your way and boldly pursue your dreams, you have to believe that you can do it. If you can't believe it, then how can you expect anybody else to believe it? You have to believe it for yourself. That means you have to leave fear and doubt at the door. You have to leave fear and doubt at the door. Now, you may have heard this acronym before. I'm not sure where it originated, so I'm going to give the disclaimer that it is not my original thought, but the acronym is FEAR. False evidence appearing real. False evidence appearing real. And false evidence appearing real manifests itself in a whole lot of what ifs. What if everything goes wrong? What if my product or my service or my business idea doesn't resonate? What if I can't find funding for my project? What if I fail? Guess what? You only fail if you give up. If it all goes wrong the first time, learn from that mistake and do it again. If your product doesn't resonate, tweak it and try it again. It's called falling forward. Falling forward. If you can't fund the project on your own, collaborate with a colleague or seek out funding from another source. If you fail, learn from that mistake and try again. You have to believe in yourself and believe in your dream. And lastly, and this is one of my favorites, because I can go to the Bible and I can get real comfortable when we start talking about the Word of God. The last thing is for you to say it. Say it with your mouth. I know that we're not in church, but I already told you that I'm a preacher. And the Bible tells me that there is death and life in the power of your tongue. There's power in the words that we speak. We can speak the word and speak things into existence. God created the entire universe by speaking a word. There's power in our words. And the same creative power that God used to create the entire universe, that power rests inside of us. So if we're going to get out of our own way, if we're going to boldly manifest our dreams, then we have to speak those things that are not as though they are. It doesn't matter what you see right now. It doesn't matter what your situation is right now. Begin to speak it. Call out that dream. Speak it into the atmosphere. Put it out there and believe that it can happen. If you have a dream and you're serious about moving forward, if you're serious about moving from being a dreamer to being a dream manifester, speak it aloud with your mouth. Declare it with your tongue. Whatever that dream is for you today. I am a published author. I am a women's empowerment speaker. I am an ambassador to my country. I am a life coach. I am an entrepreneur. I am a leader. I am a business leader. I am a business owner. Whatever that dream is that you have, I encourage you this evening to dream boldly. Change your mindset. Take that first and most difficult step. Fall forward. Say it with your mouth and watch your dreams manifest. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
It's your oh, what's it?
After that powerful presentation, thank you so much. I am is what she said. So yes, I am a wordsmith. I work with words. I do articles, I write content, I interview people, I ask their stories. I create thought, I make people think. That's me. I am a wordsmith. But I didn't come to this title easily. It was a freelance writer first, then it was, oh, have you done journalism? Asked one of the persons sitting across the desk when he was interviewing me. And this was like 6 years after having an established byline. I had been an editor of a magazine already at that point, and I was just checking the market to see my value. And the guy across the table looked at my CV and he said, oh, but you haven't done journalism. So I took a step back and I said, yes, I haven't, but how do you measure my capability from what I am educationally? But it clicked a bell in my head. So I did a course with the Writers Bureau and got my degree. Fine, we moved forward. Then I got into coaching. I got into NLP. I'm a master practitioner of NLP, and I counsel, coach to my extent. And I've seen growth therefrom. I got into speaking only last year. One of my goals was to do a TED Talk, which I did, a TEDx talk. is what I did on the art of possibility. Not a trained speaker, not somebody who's a Toastmaster or coming from any school of learning with speaking. Somebody said I was a storyteller, and so I take that title with grace. And I build from there. So why do I speak? What is it about me? What do I want to say? What do I want to achieve? Previously at another session I was talking about when the why is strong, the how follows. So my why is, I got this skills and tools that God has given me, this voice, these words. If I can use them in any way to influence anybody, even one person, then I've done my job. The two people who sit at home and look up to me, or rather look down now because they are taller than me, are my two children. So whatever I do and in whatever I do, I know that they are looking. And that for me is the biggest check. The reason I speak, being an Indian, being a abaya-clad lady, I speak because I want to tell people that it's possible. I don't want anybody to go on in life and say, I got married, I have my in-laws, I have my children, I have a gap in my career. No, those are just excuses, and those are just cushions on which you are resting your dreams and putting them in, and kind of like putting them and strolling them to sleep. Don't do that. It wasn't easy for me. I got married when I was just touching 20. To create drama, I can say I was just 19 when I got married. But yes, I was 20. I was touching 20. Most people would say, in the Indian culture, I would say, I don't know how it works in other cultures, but in our culture, or from the community that I come from, a lot of people use that as an excuse to say, oh, we're married, now it's done with, now it's so many responsibilities, I have to leave my life aside. I beg to differ. My son was 8 months old when I started writing. I was fed up of doing diapers and dishes. I wanted to do more in life. I found out about a ladies' writing group, and I started contributing articles to the newspaper. I knew nothing about journalism. All I knew was I loved to write. I loved to ask people their story and write about it. That's how I began my journey. Little by little came growth. It doesn't happen overnight, but you have to persist. You can't just sit on the couch watching TV, changing channels and saying, there's no time because I'm so busy. There is no time because you're wasting half an hour every serial. And that's also affecting and shadowing the way you think. My story and my sharing and the reason I speak is because it can be done. And if you are not doing it, it's because you are not being faithful and honest and respectful of yourself. People are going to reflect the respect that you give yourself. So if you're not respectful of your dreams, if you're not respectful of the possibilities, then it's you who has been unfair, and not the world, not the people, not the in-laws, not the children, because they're just being themselves. It's just you who hasn't owned up your own space. So that's my message, and thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you very much. Now we are ready for questions, comments, remarks.
Two lovely speakers speaking two different things, but so well put. I liked her energy and I liked what you spoke about.
Please, can you come forward and use the mic so that you can have your comment in the record?
Sure. Yes, thank you. I would say two very strong, lovely speakers. Both of them have put their points across beautifully. I liked your energy. That was really, really good. And Ruqya, what you speak is so beautiful. It makes a lot of sense. And it was really a very beautiful session, folks. I think we need a very big hand. Please. Thank you. want to say something? Yeah, sure.
Ladies, thank you so much. What I liked about both your sessions was the fact that they were short and sweet, but they were loaded. They were totally loaded. And I've also learned, not too long ago, that there is a lot of power in personal stories or personal testimonies. And you both have that. Although your stories are different, but the fact is, there's credibility in the fact that you were telling us your personal story. There is nothing more powerful than you connecting with your audience than telling your story. It adds a lot of credibility. So thank you to both, and may you continue doing what you're doing.
Any further affirmations, comments, questions? We got it all. Right?
Sorry, what is your book called?
Chasing God, Manifesting Your Dreams.
Chasing God and
Manifesting Your Dreams. It will be out this summer.
Okay.
And my Facebook page is RK Writes. RK with a capital and RITES. Writes. I was told I'm bad at my spellings when I was little, so I owned it up and I said RITES.
Okay, so maybe
Thank you.
have a group photo.
Yeah, sure. Let's have a group photo. Come. Yeah. Group photo.
Group photo.
Come along. Please come.
So where's the photographer? He decided to go away. That's bad.
I think we're still being recorded.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
it is recording.
Hi.
Very much so.
Please come back. Yes. You ready for the smile?
Shouldn't we say it's all about me or something?
Yeah.
Right.
Say it's all about me.
No, with a bit more energy. Like, seriously, guys?
gonna
Are
film
you here tomorrow?